All right, so welcome. My name is Robin Bragg at Nonlinear Creations, and I'm here with my colleague Tanis Gibson, and we just want to talk a little bit about Google Analytics and how you can get started to using analytics on your website and how Nonlinear might be able to help you. So,
Exactly. Exactly. It's exciting. Now, keep in mind this is a very high-level overview of Google. It's just a, a teaser, a taste of what is possible to get you excited. Because I know we've had lots of clients over the years using, a lot use Google. Incredibly robust product, and they don't know how to maximize what they can get out of Google. And we have a lot of people that are using products that they're just suffering with and that aren't giving them any good data. So this is just a teaser, and then sort of the things we can do to help you. So I'm going to get a slide deck up here, and I think it's this guy.
yeah, and it's not that we're saying that Google's the only thing that you can use. There's lots of great analytics packages out there.
Exactly.
It's just something because it's free. It's really easy to get going with it. So.
Yeah, it's really robust, and we always say it's free. Absolutely, it's free. But I guess there's some hidden costs, right? So there is sort of human effort that goes into what we will talk about. So there's costs, but those may be on your end or hiring a team like ourselves to sort of help you maximize it.
Yeah, but certainly worth your while.
Exactly. So when we get started here, so what is possible with Google Analytics? So, and all of this you can find online, and Google has some great tutorials and videos, but here's just a teaser. So obviously, how users view the site. So are they coming in with a mobile, a desktop, a tablet? What type of browser they're using, what's their screen resolution, all that kind of details there. The user characteristics, so what's their browser language, where are they located, have they come to your site before, are they brand new, and how did they get there? Did they come directly using your URL? Did they come in with a search term? Did another site refer to them? Did they use an ad that you've paid for? Something like that. It will tell you your popular content, your top pages, and your top searches. It will also, and Robin will dive into this a little bit later, it will give you results about your search. So what terms are users using? What pages are they going to? Are they pogo sticking back and forth between your search page and your results and pages on your site? It will tell you the usefulness of the content, and this is always up for sort of interpretation, and that's where the people, the brains get involved. But what kind of time your user is spending on the site, the bounce rate, et cetera, et cetera. It will also tell you, or will help to tell you, if your website is sort of effectively supporting your organizational goals. So you can set things up to look at conversion rates and other things like that. And then you always have the opportunity to customize it to start answering specific questions that relate to your team and your content and your business. So my example here is what content is most used by mobile users in Calgary? And then how are people arriving at a certain page? We can sort of dive into that. So where are you getting the power out of Google Analytics? And I really think the power comes from setting up custom queries, filters, and refining your reports. So this is a really user-friendly interface. We won't dive into that now. Like I said, the search engine's a wonderful thing. You'll find lots of screen captures and tutorials out there to see what this looks like in the interface. So let's go to the next screen and talk about the three types of configurations you can do on the site to maximize the extraction of all that data. So what you see on the right-hand side of the screen is how Google sort of views their their analytics as sort of a box, as a package. So they have the collection of data in the blue box there. In the red box, you see the configuration, and then it goes into processing, and then out spits your reports. So the top 3 types of configurations are filters. So those give you a modified view of your content. So you can set up your analytics to exclude maybe all of your staff visits. So the IP addresses that are coming from within your organization, you can exclude those, so you're only seeing your external visitors that are coming to your site. You can also set up your configurations to look at the goals. So these are to track specific conversions. So maybe it's signing up for a newsletter, submitting a survey, purchasing. I was joking the other day, we have an organization that is in the liquor business, so maybe you want to make sure that that champagne that's on sale is going out on New Year's, and it's also going out for the wedding season, right? So are people looking at those products seasonally? And then you have the groupings, which sort of aggregates your data together. So you can have channels from your marketing activities. So this might be ads you've purchased in Google, that type of thing. And remind me, Robin, what other channel marketing activities are out there?
Well, it can be social. So if you have, people are coming to your content through Facebook or Twitter or Google Plus or LinkedIn, so you can sort of see where the different ways that people are coming into your.
Right. And then you can also make collections of content. So maybe you want to see all of the visitors that come look at shoes, whether they're men's shoes or ladies' shoes or children's shoes. You want to see all those shoes, and you can track that specific content. Or maybe you're sort of an information-driven site and you want to see all of your white papers that are downloaded or all of your blog posts that are viewed, and you can sort of gather those into a grouping and see them all together and measure them together. So those are the 3 configurations that can be set up out of the sort of quote unquote, out of the box, that will sort of enhance the information that you're getting out of Google. So you can just go from collection to reporting without making any of these configurations, but this is where you're going to get the real detail and richness to help make sort of those business decisions. Next one. So I'll let Robin speak to the search analytics.
So something that's really useful for websites is taking a good look at your search analytics. So this is something where usually it's in conjunction with your search engine, so the search logs that you get out of whichever search engine you're using on your site, as well as Google Analytics, and you usually work with both together. So really search engines are where the users tell you what they're interested in, and if often they will use the search I mean, there's sort of two scenarios. One is that you have a very search-focused site in which you're encouraging people to use search, or whether if they're not finding something, they will then always turn to search to find it. So, and the great thing is it's really useful to see what kind of language they're using, and that can really, if you dig into that, maybe help you adapt your site to be more friendly and to use the kinds of terms that people kind of have in their head when they come to your site. So it's really, and it's always a good idea to keep an eye on your search, because as your content grows, sometimes the search results can become less and less relevant over time. So it's something that is just a regular maintenance activity on your website. It's a really good idea to run some search analytics reports. So I mean, again, it's a whole discipline of itself, but just to flag that that's something that you can use Google Analytics to support.
Right, and I was joking with one of our coworkers the other day. I said I came from my quote unquote past life. I came from an organization, and just put up here while I talk to this. You look at these search terms that are sort of popular on your site, and I said we would always have to monitor it for slang terms for street drugs. because that would always evolve. And so you'd start to see these slang terms start to sort of, come higher and higher in the search terms, and we'd enhance our content and our metadata on our site, not necessarily changing the sort of scientific information, but adding those slang terms, so people were finding the drug that sort of matched the slang term. And we wouldn't have known that information without reviewing our search analytics.
And so that content was like research content.
Yeah, it was research content on street drugs, but people would use slang terms to find out research, or maybe they want to know the symptoms their child might be using the street drug or whatever, and so we'd start to enhance that, and then you'd see a corresponding number of visits to those information fact sheets. Yeah. So that, and none of that would have been possible without spending time with the search analytics.
Right.
Okay. So why don't we skip ahead here on how we can help? So how can Nonlinear help? So I think we sort of have 4 branches, and you can sort of pick and choose the streams that would be most useful to you. We have the strategic guidance, the setup, training, and then monthly reviews and recommendations. So let's dive into those details. So why don't I let you jump into this one, Robin?
Yeah, so with analytics, it's very easy to get lost in all the data. So I think it's really important before you start measuring anything to kind of know what your ultimate goals are. What are you measuring and why are you measuring it? So the reason that you're using analytics is that you want your website to support your organization's long-term goals. So, what kind of outcomes are you expecting for your website? Are you trying to increase sales? Do you want do you have a particular piece of content that you want to get out there? So you need to know what your metrics are. You have no way of measuring if you're successful unless you have specific metrics. So that's something that we can sit down with you and figure out that kind of strategic piece of your analytics to know which are the metrics that are really going to be relevant. Because a lot of people can get really caught up on hits and traffic, but the traffic's no good unless it's actually achieving something. So you need to figure out conversion points, and whether it's newsletter signups or making sure that people are progressing down your sales funnel. I mean, each organization will have a different sort of schema for how you're going to measure everything. Measure all of this. So that's something we can sit down with you and figure that out, and then give you kind of a direction and a strategy, as well as some recommended metrics and reports.
Exactly. Thank you. So then, when we sort of touched on this earlier when we talked about those custom filters, so then there's custom dashboards and reports that come out of those. So if you sort of remember the Google box and those 4 elements, this is where we're looking at those custom reports and those dashboards. So from the sort of strategic analysis, looking at your sort of organizational goals and objectives, we can then come in, refine those filters, set up those groupings, whatever it needs to be, and then in the end, set it up to spit out those custom dashboards and reports for you. So dashboards that give you that sort of overall key metrics, quick reference for your team, and then the custom reports that do that detailed, in-depth view of it. And those custom reports might even come out with taking the dashboard information and then having analysis and recommendations in those custom reports. Okay. And I'll switch back to Robin.
Yeah. So then we can also help you get set up to run your analytics on your own. So we can come in and run training sessions with your team. So just get you up to speed on how to use Google Analytics, how to teach you how to create custom reports and dashboards. Something that's incredibly important is learning how to interpret the data and how to, again, dig in. Something that, the purpose that the regular reports serve is to kind of show you when something strange happens. But when that happens, you're going to want to go in kind of on the fly and figure out, like, okay, well, I saw a spike in traffic on this particular day. Well, why? What was it? What happened? And it's that kind of thing that is the most important. So it's sort of getting that analytical mindset and learning how to do that exploration. That's very important. And then none of this is any good if you can't then apply it to your website. So how can you then circle it back around and take the insights that you've gained and use those to continually improve the website and have it better serve you and your goals.
Exactly. And I think we can't overemphasize enough that discussion around interpretation of the data. You know, because unless you sort of have a level set of how you're looking at it and sort of that history of your site, it can go very sideways very quickly, right? One person may say, oh, the longer someone spends on the site, the better. Oh, they're on the site for 10 minutes, that's fabulous, where someone else might look at it and say, the only reason they're on our site for 10 minutes, if you sort of look at, these users' visits and click-through paths, it's because they're totally and completely lost. Mm-hmm. Right? So one person may think, oh, I'm looking at the hard data and they're on there and that's great, but really when you dive into the interpretation of it, it might be more troubling than positive, right? And that's where you can then circle that back and find ways to improve the user's, path or activity through your site. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then finally, this is our fourth one. We're looking at monthly reviews and recommendations for that continuous improvement. So monthly, we would take that time to get you a report with interpretation of the data, so you don't need to spend that time doing that, and recommendations for site enhancements based on that data. So we may say, we've seen this weird thing, we want to do some A/B testing, because maybe it doesn't stop at the analytics. Maybe there is another path that we want to pursue with some additional testing. So we think there's a problem with the placement of this button on your site. Let's do some A/B testing. Let's see if we get an improvement with that, that different location of that button, or whatever, right? So it doesn't necessarily stop at analytics, but it's that jumping off point for us to dive deeper and to explore the site challenges or the great things. Maybe you change a label on your site and suddenly, hits on that skyrocket because you've relabeled something from, maybe you changed denim to jeans on your site and suddenly people are finding it better, right? So something there for that continuous improvement. So that is like the jet speed 10,000-foot view of Google Analytics, what's there, and then how we can help you. Robin, do you have anything else to add?
Well, I think that's it. So
I will stop screen sharing if I can figure that out.
Well, thank you for spending your time on that.
And we should be able to wave goodbye now, I think.
Yeah, and bye for me as well.
Okay, bye.